Hi, today we're going to cook some roast pork and we're hoping to get some beautiful crackling on the top of it as well. My name's Steve, this is my kitchen, welcome. Okay, well here we have it. It's my piece of pork. This is a piece of pork leg. I always find you get the best crackling from a pork leg. But you can do it with belly or other cuts of pork as well. First thing to do, once you've unwrapped it, get yourself some trusty old kitchen towel and give it a bit of a pat dry. All we're doing at the moment, we're going to prep this up and try and get some of the moisture sucked out. As you can see here, there are some scores already in the pork, which is good. That will help the fat render out. But I always like to make sure there's plenty of them, so get yourself a nice sharp knife and give it a few more. You just want to cut down into the skin and the fat. You don't want to be cutting into the meat itself. Once you've got plenty of scores in there, we're going to essentially dry brine this in some salt for a bit of time. As you can see, I'm just cutting down into the fat here, getting in there but not going all the way through into the meat. You want this skin to get nice and dry, so once it hits the heat, we're going to pop this in the halogen oven. You want the heat to instantly react with this, and for that you want it to be nice and dry. So we'll get some salt on there. It looks like a lot of salt, but we're going to end up wiping a lot of it back off again. So this piece of pork, this is just under 2 kilograms, about 4.5 pounds, and it will need cooking for about 2.5 hours. So here I've got 2 tablespoons of just table salt, nothing special. Get it on, rub it in. You may not end up using all of this salt, it's a lot there. To get it in, you want to make sure you get it down into all those scores in the meat. And as ever, whenever you're touching raw meat, make sure you wash your hands properly afterwards. You don't want any of the nasty bacteria or anything. No, certainly nobody wants food poisoning. So get the salt all on there, get it caked on. You're just going for the skin, don't get it all over the meat. And we're going to leave this for about 20 minutes, which will give us time to set up the halogen oven. We'll see you in about 20 minutes when that's our time for all of the moisture to start wicking out and the salt to do its work. Okay, welcome back. So this is me pork leg. It's been laying on the side here for about 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes. Which gives me time to set up the halogen oven over here. And for this one, I am preheating the halogen oven. You want to get the heat into this piece of pork as quickly as you can. You want that skin to get so beautifully crispy that you need to get it hot fast. And the halogen oven is great at this. Doesn't normally take long for the halogen oven to heat up, but in this instance I don't want to waste that 2 or 3 minutes wait for the glass to warm up and all that kind of stuff. I want it hot. So obviously we doused this with a fair bit of salt a little while ago, which has been drawing the liquid out of it quite nicely. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but there was a lot of salt on there and we do not want it all. So get yourself some kitchen towel and try and wipe it all back off again. Get as much of that liquid off as you can. Get it into those crevices, get the salt out. All the scores that were in the pork or that you've put into the pork, you want to get as much of that salt back off, and certainly the liquid. You want the skin of this pork to be as dry as possible when you put it into the oven. And if you need to use a few pieces of kitchen towel for that, do that. And if you leave all of that salt on there, when you come to eat it later, it will just taste of salt. And we're going to put a little bit more in a minute to add a bit of flavour in, but this salt is wet now. It's been drawing the moisture out. So we'll put some fresh salt on once we've got this nice and dry, but nowhere in the volume that we included a few moments ago. Grab myself another piece of kitchen towel. Here's one I made earlier then. So the skin of this is now nice and dry. There's still a little bit of salt left on it, but the bulk of it has come off. You want to open up some of these scores now and try and get the salt out as much as you can. And like I say, we will put a little bit more on in a second, just about a little bit of flavour. But what we had on there previously was just too much. And then we're going to get it in the halogen oven. I've got my halogen oven cranked right up, as hot as it'll go, 250 degrees Celsius. And we'll have it on that temperature for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, to really get the heat focused down onto this skin and get it to crackle up nicely. And you can see it just there next to me, the light is cycling on and off as I'm preheating it. Oh. Just want a little bit of salt poured on. In reality, probably using about a teaspoon there. So there we go. So we'll get this in the halogen oven on full whack, 250 Celsius, for about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, to really get the heat into it. And then we'll bring the temperature down to about 180 degrees Celsius for the remaining time, about another 2 hours, to make sure the meat's cooked all the way through. Obviously with pork, you don't want to be mucking around, nobody wants medium rare pork. You want to make sure that your meat is cooked thoroughly. As I've already said, nobody wants food poisoning. Alright, there she is, piece of pork in the halogen oven. You can see the light cycling on and off as it's maintaining the temperature in there. Fairly standard setup on this one. Got the low cooking rack in, the extender ring on the top there, so low cooking rack down the bottom. Hopefully it comes as no surprise. There's the rack you put the food on for it to cook. Extender ring up here, literally a metal ring, lifts the heating element slightly higher away from what you're cooking. Always good to use that if you're cooking a large piece of meat or a whole chicken or something. If you have the heating element too close to it, then you'll massively overcook the top and the inside of your meat won't be cooked properly. The beautiful thing about halogen ovens is they've got a huge fan on the top, which would really help to circulate the air around it. So whenever you're cooking, make sure you've got whatever you're cooking up on that cooking rack. Generally when you buy a halogen oven, it comes with a low cooking rack and a high cooking rack. You can put two lots of stuff in there, but you want it up on the rack so the air can circulate freely underneath it. It gets all around whatever it is you're cooking. And as you can see there, that huge light bulb in the top where all the heat comes from, cycling on and off as the temperature's dropping. Right now I've got this set at its maximum, 250 Celsius, and I'm going to let it run like that for about 25 minutes and then drop it to about 170, 180 Celsius for the following 2 hours. Give you a little update in a little while when the meat isn't just a raw lump of meat. Okay, here we are guys, about 25 minutes in. Just turn the halogen oven down to about 175 Celsius, and as you can see, it's starting to brown up nicely. Let's take you up the top through the lid. You can see there, hopefully through there, it's starting to crisp up a bit. You can see it's already starting to bubble away as the fat is oozing out from that crackling. And that should crisp up wonderfully. All got a bit dark. You can see that slightly better now that the light has gone off. And that is how we're looking. So about 2 hours now at 175 should have us where we want to be. Okay, welcome back. As you can see, the pork is now out of the oven and it looks incredible, if I do say so myself. And I just wanted to show you this before I start carving it. Hopefully the microphone will pick this up. You hear how crunchy and crackly that is. The skin has christened up beautifully. So what I'll do from here, get myself a nice filleting knife, and I will carefully peel the top of that off before I carve it up. Obviously when you're carving, get yourself a nice meat fork to hold it steady. Look at me, barely able to use a camera. And get yourself a knife that will make Mick Dundee proud. Whenever you're cutting up meat, it is important to use a decent sized knife and take long smooth cuts so you can get nice slices. So there we go. I just wanted to show you that before I say pop the crackling off the top. I'm going to leave it a few more minutes to rest, let the juices redistribute inside the meat. But It looks amazing. And there we have it. Beautifully sliced pork leg with beautiful crispy crackling. I'll serve this up with some vegetables, some nice roast potatoes, a bit of applesauce. And yes, I'm a heathen, despite the fact it's not roast beef. I'm having Yorkshire puddings with it today too. I hope you've liked this video. I hope you found it informative. Please subscribe, hit that bell button. Now I know that a few people are watching my stuff. I will post a few more. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you'd like to see anything else. Thanks very much. Look forward to welcoming you back to Steve's Kitchen again.